What's up? I'm OBG. So why are the Yamazaki whiskeys so expensive? Well, let's take a look at the three really expensive range that they make. And the first one is the range, as it's called. And in there's four whiskeys. The first one is the Yamazaki 12-year-old, the 18-year-old, the 25-year-old, and the Unicorn 55-year-old. Then we have the limited edition. Now this lineup is made up of the Yamazaki Punch-On, the peated malt, the Spanish oak, and the Mizunara oak. And finally, they make the Hibiki lineup. The first one is the Hibiki Harmony, the 17-year-old, the 21-year-old, and the insane 30-year-old. Yes, they also make the Hakushu range, the Ruku Gin, the Haiku Vodka, but I'm not gonna cover those today. If you want to learn more about them, then you should subscribe because I will in a future video. Now let's look at the range that it's called between the 12, 18, 25, and the 55 in details. The first one is the Yamazaki 12-year-old. Now this is 100% malted barley aged for 12 years in American, Spanish, and Japanese oak. This has an ABV of 43 or a proof of 86. Now you can easily find this one for about $150 to $250. Then there's the Yamazaki 18-year-old. Once again, this is 100% malted barley. This is aged in ex-bourbon cask, ex-sherry cask, and Mizunara oak. This also has an ABV of 43 or a proof of 86. And this one's harder to find since the price is between $1,000 to $2,000. Then there's the Yamazaki 25-year-old. Once again, 100% malted barley. This has been aged in ex-bourbon cask, ex-sherry cask, and Mizunara oak. This also has an ABV of 43 or a proof of 86. This is an impossible find, and if you can find it, this will set you back between $19,000 to $25,000. Then there's what we called a true unicorn when it comes to whiskey. The Yamazaki 55-year-old. Now this is the oldest whiskey ever released from Yamazaki since this was distilled in 1964 and aged in white oak casks. This of course is 100% malted barley. This has an ABV of 46 or a proof of 92. And if you can find one, this will set you back a minimum of $1 million. Yes, you heard me right. $1 million for a bottle of whiskey. Now, how is that possible? Well, it's pretty simple. It's something that everybody will be looking at as a reference point, since this is the oldest whiskey ever made out of Japan and from the most prestigious distillery in Japan. Now let's move on to the limited edition, since there's also four whiskeys in this range. Now these are all blends of Yamazaki 12-year-old, 18-year-old, and 25-year-old. Since these are distillers reserve, meaning they didn't make the cut for the 12, 18, or 25, so they blend them together and they cast finish them in separate styles. The first one is the Yamazaki Punch-On. Now this is finished in American oak, and this will cost you about $4,000. The second one is the peated malt. Now this one is also about $4,000. The third is the Spanish oak, same price, $4,000. And the last one, the Mizunara oak. This is the one that everybody wants, and this will set you back about $5,000. I know that this is insane, but a full lineup of the limited edition will cost you between $10,000 to $15,000, depending if you can find them grouped together. That's what really people are trying to collect, so that they have the full lineup, because as a group, they are worth a lot more money. But let's look at the Hibikis. Now these whiskeys are made up from malt whiskeys from the Yamazaki distillery, the Hakushu distillery, and also the Chita distillery. These whiskeys are made from 5 different casks, and there's white oak, American oak, sherry cask, Mizunara oak, and some illustrated oak that we don't know. But the Hibiki is a blend of these 3 major distilleries that Suntory all owns. Now, the Hibiki Harmony retails for about $80. the Hibiki 17-year-old is about $1,200. The Hibiki 21-year-old is the same as the 17 when it comes to the blend, but this one is finished in Japanese oak, aka Mizunara oak, and this one sells for about $1,500. And finally, we have the very rare and once again a unicorn Hibiki 30-year-old. Now, if you can find one of these, it's between $10,000 to $15,000. Now, are all of these whiskey actually worth the money? I mean, $1 million for a bottle of whiskey? That is complete insanity. Or a limited edition between $10,000 to $15,000? Or a Hibiki 30-year-old for $15,000 for one bottle? That is absolutely crazy. And all of this is due to speculation and how crazy people are about these whiskeys. Now, the Japanese whiskey market is the hottest whiskey market in the world, and collectors are really fighting to get into these. But at the end, they are just not worth the money. I mean, who has $1 million to buy a bottle of Yamazaki 55? If you know someone and you've bought a bottle and you want to try it, well, please give me a call because I want to taste that crazy unicorn whiskey. This is just out of control, and I can promise you that these prices are going to keep climbing as we go, since speculation for whiskey has become one of the biggest investments in the world right now. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'm OBG for tastingskills.com. Please remember, my friend, stay sober. Peace.